Welcome, it's SVPod. Stanford Steve is here. Red is somewhere. He's not here right now, which is probably better. He was agitated and barking.
Yeah, he's not going to make it.
No, I mean, we've been in here doing a little voice work this morning.
How's the pipes?
I mean, it's the instrument. It's the gift.
Baby maker.
Hey now. I think that's a whole different instrument, so to speak. Red somewhere. Hopefully, I don't have him as being able to endure this one.
No.
But we'll see how it goes. Who are you repping today? St. Mary's?
Yeah.
Moraga
In
the building.
Yeah. What do you got?
Shout out to my guy, Coach Grant Billmeyer, up there at NJIT. Second in the America East. Tough week last week. It's all right. Got a couple. Young squad up there. Highlanders doing their thing.
Let's see them on a bracket.
Well, I mean, they're going to need to win they're going to need to win the America East, but spent a little time with us down at Maryland. Excellent coach. And look, you go to NJIT, I'm like, you can't win there. I was wrong. You can.
Yeah. Love
that. So just
Islanders
trying to show a little love. I believe they got Bryant, and then UMBC, who's currently leading, comes to their joint to end it. They only got there because they're in we've reached a place now where championship week, you realize, if you're in one of those leagues that's early on with the championship week in early March, you got one more week of conference hoops. One more week. The bigger conferences have a couple. Then you get into it. We'll clearly be talking some college hoops. Master Motivator Steve. New name. Maybe there's a little science to the list. We clearly begin with not just the biggest moment of the weekend, but one of the biggest moments in American sports in decades, I thought. Sunday morning was one of those ones. Now, I know you had swim meets and hoops.
Mm-hmm.
So were you completely detached from the ability to pay attention to what was going on?
No. So we got home at 3 a.m. Saturday night?
It was a late one.
And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm setting the alarm for 8 o'clock.
Let's go. Gold medal game.
So we're up. Didn't move out of bed till the end of the first period. Then we got to start going. We got split household as far as responsibilities in sports.
Divide and conquer.
So I was on the basketball, so I got a little more time. So I was able to watch the first period, half of the second. Still was 1-0. But it was changing.
Ice was tilting.
Yes. But I just had the phone at basketball. We had another swim deal. We had all three involved yesterday. So basically, I tapped out. Didn't really check the social media. I mean, I knew we had won. And then last night, I went back and watched the whole thing start to finish, which was awesome. I don't think I've ever watched a hockey game a second time.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, I understand.
I love it. Like, we love the playoffs.
No doubt, but
we're not
like what you would do.
We haven't never laced them up for Team USA.
No, but your point, like, to do what you do with football, to watch the All-22, you want to find out, hey, dude, is that O-line as good as I think it is? Or what are they doing there with whatever the
forecheck?
Pucks on net. We don't know. We love it, but we are honest about our ignorance.
Yeah, so I did not take it in live, but I am caught up and awesome.
There are so many layers to this.
Notes.
Just a truly incredible moment in American sports. And the fact that it had been since 80 in Lake Placid, and us talking about watching the doc, and you think of what that was, this was obviously completely different. And yet they hadn't won one since then.
Mm-hmm.
And to have our pros and their pros, to have the golden goal that Sydney had in Vancouver in 2010, and close calls, and what happened in the Four Nations last year, just an amazing seismic feeling moment. And then the thought of, man, could they run it back? And think of how many things had to happen for these two teams to survive, to get to one another yesterday morning. United States needed overtime. Canada needed overtime. Coop's my guy. I really like him. He's not wrong to say 3-on-3 hockey is not really hockey, but like you guys beat Czechia in overtime. It was 3-on-3. There's no complaints about it then. Do you want to settle a gold medal with 3-on-3 hockey? Maybe not, but if I can put McDavid, McKinnon, and Makar out there as my three, I'll take on anyone in the world. But for them to even get to that moment to play each other yesterday, a lot had to go their way. And it does, and then we get what we get yesterday. And, I mean, the list of stuff that I'll never forget is really long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, coming out right out of the gates, Wilson's hit on Larkin.
Yeah.
My God.
Good morning.
And the ability to bounce right back up and knowing he's probably the most I've learned about. You know about the talent. Obviously, he hasn't played on a great team in Detroit, but he really, hearing the younger guys talk, because he's one of the older guys that's done this. But to see what he did for this team, and I think that's where it starts, is what Billy Guerin did in constructing this team, and the ability and the wherewithal in this day and age of criticism constantly in your face. When you're in a position like that, where it's 46 years and you're trying to build something and go about it and basically re-rack the roster from last year in the Four Nations, add Sage to the lineup, but not take the bait and go with the goal scorers like a Cole Caulfield or Robertson from the Stars, who are unbelievable talents.
No doubt.
But to go with defense and take Trocheck and take Slavin, God, that guy's a monster. They all are. But just watching it back, you really start honing in on things. And I think the defensemen against Canada, you weren't going to outscore them. You had to have a method to your madness.
Well, in the end, by rule, you have to, and they did. They did outscore them. But I understand what you mean. You're not going to outscore them if it gets beyond, the lower realm of scoring.
And most importantly, like, it was incredible to see Hellebuyck just say, I got this, guys. I mean, that second and third period.
He's under attack. Under siege.
Have you tried to put your arm as far back that with
holding a stick to stop a puck?
Yeah.
In a gold medal game? No, I've not had to do
skates. That. That's all I always say.
Yeah, that's true.
But just not being flustered, and I can't imagine the mindset you have to have, knowing what you're up against, but again, having the self-confidence, say, all right, I got my guys around me. They're gonna need me. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're going in, like a quarterback goes into a game, like, oh, you know what? I'm going to have to make some plays here. Not like that. I mean, just an onslaught of the talent that Canada has. And not to be able to see Jim Craig live in 80, but to see Hellebuyck, I'm not, like I said, my research on the hockey sport is not great. I love it. I respect the hell out of it, but it's the best effort I've ever seen out of a goalie for what was at stake.
The singular save of Taves, I believe it was, that's point blank. That's the image that will forever live to describe what he did. That's like a singular moment. But there were one after another. I believe it was Charlie McAvoy who makes a save that gets lost in the chaos of the game, where it's a mad scramble in front and he just blocks it with his chest. That's going in too.
And basically spits it out with his hands.
That was McAvoy.
Yeah.
And then McKinnon, who's one of the very best in the world, is on the doorstep. And I, again, like you, love it, but don't pretend to know. Is that on the doorstep, McKinnon? Is that a 9 out of 10 proposition? I don't know, but it's got to be more than 5 out of 10 that he's burying that puck. And somehow he doesn't. Is it the stage? Is it the stakes? Is it the nerves? Who's to say? But he didn't. And the game stays tied. Because if you fall behind that team 2-1 in the third, buddy, that's curtains.
Yeah.
And the United States just doesn't let them do it. They have somehow 5-on-3 against that team. There's zero chance you can kill that penalty. And they did.
Every time in the tournament. I think 16 for 16 they ended up.
Well, to go on the PK?
Yeah.
But to be 5-on-3 against Canada, there's just no hope. And talk about the slowest increments of time. I've always joked about that. When you're drunk, hopefully in college, and you'd put that like burrito in there and you'd
Hot Pocket.
Hot Pocket's another, that's a great one. And you'd push the time and it's like, is it done? It's probably done.
If your microwave's big enough, you got both hands pressed against the wall and you're just staring into that yellow light of the microwave.
You think it's done? I think it's done. I'm going to eat it. And it's like, because it's still frozen. And you're like, fuck, it's cooking for a minute. Oh, it was only 32 seconds. I should push time again. The slowest increment of time is being drunk and waiting for a Hot Pocket. No, it's not. Slowest increment of time is Canada has a 5-on-3 in the gold medal game. And you're like, how is there still 1:30 left in this run clock run?
But on reverse, we get it.
4-minute penalty.
And it was the fastest thing ever. Of
course.
It felt like.
Of course.
So, but again, a credit to that group, a defenseman that got in there, and not the biggest names, but Guerin went with those guys, and I mean, verification, whatever, and then texting and talking and listening to Ryan Whitney and
Biz,
just about the idea of Whitney talking about how this thing built. And then I went back and I read about the Hughes brothers. They were living in Montreal at the time of the 2010 game and were the only guys rooting for USA. And the parents talk about, like, wow, we're really on an island here. But those guys, that's where it starts. And Tirico bringing it full circle at the end and talking about, whatever age you are now, guys, this is how far it goes back.
Yep.
So you have all that. But just the game, I thought, I don't want it to be a hot take. I have a question as far as hockey. Okay. Does Connor McDavid pass too much?
This is where I don't understand the sport, and you don't understand the sport enough to know. I feel like when I watch him, especially on a penalty kill, I'm thinking just pucks on net. That's Coach Melrose. Pucks on net. I'm fine if not. If I'm rooting for the Oilers or Canada, I'm fine with him letting it rip all the time. But the gravity of that guy is such that he's going to draw so much attention that him passing is probably a better play because all eyes are on him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's the ignorance for me in the sport. Maybe that's a really naive way to put it, but that's what it seems like. Because when I'm watching him pass, I'm thinking, dude, just shoot. You're you.
Yeah, if you could pass that well, you definitely could shoot that well.
Well, and he does.
And then he gets the breakaway and he doesn't give it a shot off.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was
all right. Fine by me.
I just, and it felt like he was never off the ice.
No, and my God, when it's overtime and it's him and it's McKinnon and it's McCarr, you're like, this is like the Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl, but there's three of them. Right, the best person in the game, but there's three of them, and there's all that ice, and you got to deal with them. And then Jack Hughes scores.
Yeah. I thought, God, not even midway through the third period, Edzo made the point of USA's got to get this to overtime. That's how bad it was tilted. That was your breather, to your point. Yeah, let's take our shot with McKinnon, McDavid, and Celebrini. That guy. That's where I started to wonder, though, because he had a breakaway also, and he took the shot early. If you remember that one, he doesn't go all the way up. And no. I'm like, is Hellebuyck in their head? You know, you just saw they had every chance, every possible shot, breakaway up close, breakaway. Let's take a shot, power play, pucks on net, everything. And Hellebuyck still could do it.
I think I've told you this story before about Tiger Woods on the first hole at Augusta, and he constantly blowing the ball right, it's over the bunker. And I give him hard time, how come you can't hit the first fairway at Augusta? Because I'm nervous. And you go, oh yeah, you're the guy in the video game. You're the guy with all the majors, but you're a human. You're a Canadian skating for the gold with a country that this is really high, maybe number one on the list of the most important things you can do for your country.
Hmm.
I don't know if Hellebuyck's in their head, but I think the moment's in their head. How could it not be?
I don't know. They're just the most aw shucks guys, but then to hear them talk about that, being in there.
What it would mean.
Yeah. And then I heard Biz talk. I thought he made a great point about the Kachucks and how they take all the focus, all the interviews, all the sound bites. Everyone goes to those two.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you got the other guys that got to do major work, and they don't have to really worry about that. Like just the essence of a team.
Right.
They also made Jans made the point of Connor McDavid just has to play hockey away from the Kachucks. Like he can't
escape.
One of them's on the ice, he can't do it. There's just so many intricacies of the game.
Yep.
And to hear Hughes talk about he was worried about being the GOAT and the bad GOAT, where you're the reason that Canada scores, was really, really eye-opening. But, like, that's the great thing about hockey players is there was no denying anything. There wasn't any question that wasn't going to be answered. You know, like, everything was brought to the forefront. And for McKinnon to say, I'm not sure the best team won, I totally understand where he's coming from. I really do. But it's a one game. This isn't 7 games. It's one game. And everybody knew that going in. And to Cooper's point, I hate saying it as American. I don't know if 3-on-3 is the best part. Because
it's not, but they won a 3-on-3 overtime game against Czechia. Like that, your own.
Can I ask you about that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Everyone said it. Tirico says Czechia.
Okay, Czechia.
I'm going to say Czechia.
I defer to him.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get to him.
Yes, we will.
And that performance he put down.
Yes, we will. Czechia, my bad. Well, my point is that you can't complain about the rules when you only got past Czechia because you won in a 3-on-3 scenario.
But then reading Bucci's stuff, I thought it was a great point, and that's where I was like, wow, I'm really on the fence. He says you're going to get a true shot.
As opposed to, I saw that. He said it's not like some squirter that goes off the board and hits somebody's butt and goes in.
And I'm driving to my daughter's game, and I see it's going to overtime, and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know it was 3-on-3. I thought it was 4-on-4 at the least.
It was when Crosby had the golden goal in Vancouver.
Correct. Good research by you. See you digging. But I'm like, oh, it's going to end. I thought thinking, regular circumstance, I'm like, it's going to be a freaking deflection off a skate.
Nope.
High stick, face mask, something. And so you see that, and obviously USA wins, so it's like, yeah, all right, I'm good with it. But just thinking back, but then I just go through the course of the game, like, Canada, you had so many chances. And the other kicker, it really is a kicker, and I'm not sounding like I don't want to sound like a Canadian apologist. I have my thoughts on Canada. But Sidney Crosby not playing. Like, that's as good as McDavid is and in his prime and this whole thing, that's your guy.
Yeah, it feels cosmically really incorrect for him not to be able to be out there. And there was an amazing little blurb that I read, and I would give the credit, but I don't know where I read it, that just described him like they said you should put your stuff on. And he's lacing them up just so for the medal ceremony or whatever, you're in your uniform, you're in your sweater. And he's got that incredibly distinguished now salt and pepper. And this is a guy that we've watched for decades. And he had that golden goal and he couldn't go. And I mean, the one thing about hockey that on the long list of things I admire, whatever it is that's wrong with him, you'll never know. They'll just say lower body. And that covers a lot.
But you never really get, there was confirmation he tried skating.
Couldn't.
Like that, yeah. And like at the last real deal they were going to do before the game. And I just can't imagine the emotions of that, just knowing yourself. And now, like I said, he's older now. But like when he made that goal, that 2010?
In Vancouver. Golden goal.
He was the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And 16 years that you're captain, you move the seat of the other guy. Like there's a lot of things, but I still go to the opportunities. They had plenty of opportunities.
For sure they did. But
Hellebuyck was that good.
Yeah, Hellebuyck was incredible. All right, let's get to the Jack Hughes piece because you talk layers, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
The guy takes the high stick in the face. I mean, we've talked about Whit and Biz and the boys. Their pods what? Spit and chiclets.
Yeah.
The man's teeth are cut in half. The teeth adjacent to the tooth that's busted are bloody.
Biz calls him jibs. Gibbet. He lost a gibbet.
He lost one. He takes the penalty late. He then scores the goal to be the all-time hero. And the celly, I think that helmet went over and in. So somebody might have walked with the all-time keepsake. And then the interview. It just kept getting better. I mean, the snapshot with the flag, the tooth, the bloody mouth, the taking the penalty, scoring the goal, doing the interview where he's talking about the brotherhood, pride in country, the honor to represent your country, to be the ones to win. It was just, I watched it and I wound it back and I told my boys, I'm like, listen to what he's saying. It's like, you're not going to hear a better, more pure reflection of emotion ever than this dude right now. It was just perfection. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing moment that was so beautifully told and so sincerely told. No weighing how this is going to land, no filtering anything. Whoa. This is how we feel about each other. This is how we feel about representing our country. This is how we feel about winning and beating those guys. It doesn't get better. No.
And what really thought and hearing people talk about, around that age group and Guerin constructing this whole thing, this group did it. They did it in the juniors. They did it under 18s, all that stuff. They won golds. Like, it was a process. You got them in a successful situation early on because when you win, in order to win when you're older, you need to know how to win when you're younger. And it's been a process. There's plenty of success this team has had. It's just this group hasn't had that stage. And the Four Nations was an exhibition, but you could tell it was real. I mean, go back and watch the tape. This with a gold medal on the line and all the history, like, I can't imagine how sick this team was of having to talk about 1980. They weren't even alive.
No, they weren't.
But then they come back, and then you hear Eruzione goes and talks to the team. It's like, yeah, we got it. We got it. This is our opportunity, and it's not the Russians against college kids. We're pretty damn good ourselves. So it's I mean, talk about a long road, and just to see the guys that play the sport talk about how proud they are, it's really cool. And in a day and age where I didn't really hear any picking apart of, like, why is it pros? What do they keep calling it? Best on best.
What do we always talk about? Like it was Georgia goes back to the old days with Pete Carroll at USC. The practice used to be the ones on the ones. Let's go good on good.
Yeah,
let's go good on good, and that's great on great.
Oh.
That's great on great. Stakes are as high as they could get. And half a jib out, sitting in the penalty box, just please God get us to overtime, and then you're the hero. And they were just bombed afterwards, doing the interview with Mike late in the broadcast. Just, I can't imagine the run those boys are going to be on just to enjoy the moment together in Italy. But then they'll have this forever. And you know what I love? We haven't even said his name once yet, but when it was done, we're all talking about the guy with the C on his sweater. That's Auston Matthews. Because this is a dude that carries a whole lot up there in Toronto. We know that the Maple Leafs, they're carrying a whole lot of weight and wreckage and scar tissue for what they haven't been able to do. And those guys were all saying, he led us to victory. And so that speaks to what you're saying, that these guys have been together on this journey together for a long while. And they know who he is, and they know what he is. And I just thought them acknowledging him specifically for the role he played in this, I thought was fantastic.
Think about the 1980 team and what it was, Minnesota versus Boston.
Right.
A couple Michigans mixed in.
Yeah, but it was
Ohias.
It was mostly the guys that had played in the
Auston
North.
Matthews is from Arizona.
Yeah.
Like the strength of Team USA hockey. We're going to get you. One of the guys, I forgot who it is from Omaha, Nebraska. Like, that's like Talk about brotherhood, man. Like those guys all did it. The ability and the wherewithal of Team USA to get the facility, to get these guys there. And then you hear about the text chain after Four Nations, like, all right.
Okay. Plant the seed.
Yeah. But it was, God. And then the Gaudreau stuff. I mean,
that's the build. That's the build. And that was Dylan Larkin and Zach Werenski that went up to go get him. And that's Noah and Johnny Jr. Gaudreau on his second birthday.
Yeah. On that day.
I can't even do it now.
No.
I can't even talk about it now. You know what struck me was the kids. You got kids, I got kids. That's scary, man. Like leaving your mom, Meredith, your grandparents, leaving them. Like okay, these are my uncles. I recognize these guys. These are my uncles. Those. I mean, you don't.
Maybe.
Yeah, but you don't know that those were daddy's guys. You're too young.
No.
It could be scary.
Yeah.
You see their faces. Those little kids were beaming. The
one on the left never stopped smiling.
And having kids. I got a picture up in my office of my kids on Santa's lap, middle one, just despondent. Like the idea of leaving the safety of mom and grandma and grandpa to go out into a scene of loud whatever, like that could be scary. But whatever you believe, man, the presence of family, they knew it. Those kids knew it. And their faces reflected it. And that picture forever of that group with their dad's sweater and those two kids, forget it, man.
Yeah. Those guys, like I lost my best guy after college, and that was rough. And still thinking about the emotions. He had kids. But to lose your guy on a team like that in the middle of it, where, again, you're growing up, you're playing 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. This group, hey, we're going to get there one day. That's the goal right there. To lose in the middle of that, to see the jersey when he goes go away, every step of the way, real. And it says the most about that group. Like that's where it all hit.
The bonds of brotherhood that are for a lifetime and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
That bond doesn't die if you do. And his twin brother, I believe, I know it's his brother, Matthew is his name.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the weekend of their sister's birthday.
Yeah. Wedding, I thought.
I beg your pardon. I misspoke. It was the day before their sister was to be married. And talk about going down a wormhole. Like, I was thinking of, I don't know how a family endures that.
No.
That moment. I don't know how a family endures that moment. And then to see that USA Hockey family give them that moment yesterday with mom and dad there. I want to get the names right. I wrote them down. Jane and Guy. Johnny Hockey's folks. Wife Meredith. To give them a moment where they're saying, like, this isn't ceremonial. He's part of our team.
No, absolutely. Which
means you're part of our team. Does it erase that? Do you ever get past that? I don't know how you ever could. But what that team gave them in that moment, and then what that family gave them. Again, it's just the layering of this. It's impossible. I mean, look, 80's singular, all right? 80's a singular thing. But, buddy, you start going through this list of stuff, Jack Hughes, Johnny Hockey, the family, the kids, when it's done, like, it's stuff that you live for in this business, to see moments that are the moments of highest achievement that move you, right? What do I always say? The best things in sports, the best moments in sports, they move you. And that's what happened yesterday. And then you think you've seen the best of it, and then here come Johnny Hockey's kids. And you're like, so you're just waiting to Charlie Brown us and you thought we were going to come up and kick the football because we were done. Now you're going to pull us out and rug us, and we're like going to hit the deck and go, I wasn't ready for that, but in a great way. Oh, my God. Phew. That picture of those kids.
Do you know coaches don't get gold medals?
I did. I only found that out when the women's team won, and I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah. That guy played. He actually trained a lot of these guys and then took the women's job. But I just, bringing back 1980, like Herb Brooks didn't even get a medal for that.
I think Herb got what he needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he got I think he quieted the demons of 1960. I think that's what slayed that dragon. I think that's worth more than a gold medal, I would guess.
Did you get up in time to see the Open? I didn't, but I watched it last night.
I didn't.
Because it's on the Peacock app, which is great. Go back and do it. They have everything start to finish. But Kurt Russell voiced the Open.
Oh, wow.
Buddy. Like, you get down there and it's like, Tirico, ice, here you go, Kenny and the boys. Bring us this game now. Yeah, that got my attention. I went out and shoveled at like midnight, came back in. So like 1 a.m., I was bouncing off the wall for that game for a second time.
There's all these incredible things that I'll remember forever. I'm going to add one that's comical, unrelated. It's the other side of the spectrum that I can't get out of my head. I watched it 10 times. They give the silver medal winners this little stuffed animal.
The Labubu.
Great.
Gold medals get it too.
I know, but the gold medal guys, it's a heck of a lot easier to say, hey, here's a stuffy for you. The look
McKinnon.
on McKinnon's face. He's just got this 1,000-mile stare. Like, how did this happen? I'm wearing a silver medal. And then some man gives him a shake and a little lovey. And I don't know that he thought this, but the cartoon bubble over his head was, are you fucking for real right now with this stuffed animal? And the wherewithal to not chuck it, I actually admire. To stand there holding, what was it?
Labubu.
I mean, can I just make a recommendation to the IOC? Maybe you don't hand a Labubu.
Leave it in the locker.
We'll put it in a bag of parting gifts. But I'm not going to make you stand here and hold this while you watch the other team sing their anthem and you're holding a Labubu. Which maybe, with some time and reflection, is a gift that you can give to a child that go, here's what Dad got. Because they probably don't care that it was your second. I got a Labubu from the Olympics. But wow. All of the emotion, the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads. It had every bit of it.
Speaking of comical, did you see the Canada hockey tweet after the women lost?
I did not see that. What did they say?
They said, oh, wait, I want to make sure I get it right.
Okay.
Silver shines just as bright as gold does.
Does it?
Come on. Come on.
That's just a bit of doing too much. Sometimes it's okay to not say anything.
It's impossible these days.
Apparently,
they can't do it. Because
Yeah,
you're talking about the Gaudreau stuff and the spirit. If you believe in that, and he was saying, "Get me out of this box" and all that, I'm going to throw the tweet in there. That's why that helped right there. Don't tweet that. You're Canada. It's hockey. You don't lower your standards. Try and be nice. The broadcast.
May I say a few words about
I got plenty
about my friend Mike Tirico?
Oh, okay.
Well, go ahead on the broadcast. Then I'll wait.
I thought they were great. I thought Edzo in the Open talking about being a Team USA guy, being on the team after 84.
That couldn't have been a ton of fun.
But he talked about those guys. I mean, you want to talk about here, what was I, 7 in 84? But being the next team to take it and just, there's no way you're responding or being bigger than that. But you could see it in his emotion. I thought they were brutally honest and say we got away with one with too many men on the ice and they did the replay and he highlighted it and talked about how Hughes can't be playing with the puck there. There's too many guys on the puck. Should have been a penalty. We got away with one, I think were the exact words. Boucher was just incredible. He had Hughes' injury. He said he saw the teeth on the ground as the hit happened. They were right on. Like, I had to go back and watch it, and then they showed the replay. But going back to watch it live, they just showed the slow motion. The hit by Wilson on Larkin to set the tone, which Tom Wilson does better and more than anyone in the sport. It's like, holy shit, buckle up here. The first goal is an incredible play.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible play. And
yeah, I don't know how he got that. Like, I don't know how he got that clear line to be able to get the shot off.
Unbelievable. To get that, and they said that you needed the first goal. You needed to go up 1-0, and the speed Boucher talking about on the ice and saying it's the fastest he's ever seen anything. I couldn't disagree. I thought this same exact thing as I'm watching it.
Matt Boldy was the first goal.
Boldy's goal is just, I mean, pursuit, wherewithal to split like that. It happened in one of the women's games, I want to say. Maybe Canada's game winner, whatever. But just those guys were in it and on one. And I thought it was a brutal game-winning call to have to make because the puck just dies in the back of the net. Like, there's a split second where I don't think anybody knew if it went in until you see Werenski put his hands up.
Yeah, we were watching it with the boys, and I'm like, he scored. And there was that pause where the boys are waiting, and then the celebration made it clear that they did, but it was hard to see the angle.
Yeah, because it doesn't. It just barely. And then when you see it from behind Hughes, you see it just dives underneath all the whatever they put on the back of the net there. But the presentation, there wasn't one leaf that wasn't turned over that needed to be, or I should say all the leaves were turned over. They did an unbelievable job in presenting that with what was at stake, and it gave you, Boucher talking early on, like, there ain't no words here. Boys are playing.
Yeah, Mike asked him about what kind of chatter. He's like, not much.
Like, it's on, and then just to keep going back to Hellebuyck and what he did. And then I didn't see the McAvoy thing live, and I literally was reading stuff and then watched the game back. That, knowing that it was coming and being able to see it, that's a stupid instinctive play.
And it happens a lot during Stanley Cup runs. You'll see defensemen that their instinct is such to put themselves between
he wasn't leaving.
Between whoever has the puck in the back of the net because my keeper's on the ground here.
Got to get him back.
And he makes a play that gets lost in the sauce. It shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't. So I'm glad you make mention of it as well.
Yeah, they were awesome. The one thing,
okay,
and I say it all the time, we got the cameras at the watch parties, right? Just one time, show me the losing team after the game's over. It'll be the best video ever.
I saw some sad Canadian. I don't revel in their sadness. I think it just is instructive of how much it means. I mean, you saw it. At least I saw it.
Oh,
not on the broadcast necessarily, but I mean, you see people that are
Makar just staring.
Yeah. I mean, the looks on those faces of those guys. Again, that's why I felt like the Labubu was poorly. Just we'll give them that back in the back.
Yeah, and these people that do the reaction of watching the game and saying this was my react, like, I don't believe you.
No, it seems
I know how to do the rewind.
A little performative sometimes, maybe.
Just try. But go ahead.
Mike Tirico has been my friend for decades. All right? Decades. When I started at ESPN, I came over from the golf world, and Mike was calling golf on ABC, and I was part of those productions in golf, still am. I do the Masters because Mike took the job with NBC that I slid into the Butler cabin and into that role. But we have that in common. We have the Syracuse connection. He, of course, is a proud graduate of Syracuse, as so many of my family are. We've had all these things that go back decades that we've been close and we've been friends for a brief period. We were doing the radio show together. Among the million things the guy's juggling at the time. And I remember when he went to NBC, and I knew the reason why. And it was because he wanted to call championships, and there really wasn't a path to that necessarily at our place. Although now we've got the Super Bowl, and it's great that Joe and Troy will be on the call next year in Los Angeles. That's a big deal for ESPN, for us. They've done it a bunch, but never at ESPN. But Mike had aspirations to want to call a Super Bowl someday, and they had Al Michaels at the time, so he waited patiently, and now he's done Sunday Night Football, and did the Super Bowl this year. And has been the host of the Olympics. And all I can tell you in watching him reach whatever place he's at is that it's arguably a place no one in our business has ever been. Truly. And I say that with respect to someone like Jim Nantz, who does, for many years, would call the Final Four and then the Masters in the same week. Pretty good week. But to call a Super Bowl and then go to host the Olympics, and then as the Olympics are coming to a close, have a moment as brilliant as he had, the profession cannot be done any better than that. It is the height of the craft. It is the absolute zenith of what you would aspire to be professionally. And I say this, and I don't want this to sound tacky. Please correct me if it does, because you're my guy.
No offense.
I've done this for a while, and I feel like I hear it in my head. I don't want it to sound this way, but I'm just going to say it. I feel like I'm as good as anyone out there that does this when it comes to the ability to think and talk in moments, to give you a sense of what something feels like. And I take pride in my ability to do that. I've had some moments in my career where, all right, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Be calm, be measured, do a good job. And I believe I can. And I rarely, if ever, watch someone and think, that's something beyond my ability. Mike Tirico, I marveled at that man. The ability in that moment yesterday to deliver not just the perfect message, but the perfect tone, and to deliver it with a sense of just hope that's not false, and words that land so powerfully with so many people. I'm so proud of my friend, and I'm in awe of the ability of the man to reach a place in the profession that is just beyond, honestly, anything I've ever seen. And I say that with respect to Costas, Jim McKay, anyone that's done that role as well. I don't know anyone who's been this versatile that's been able to say, I'm as good a play-by-play guy as there is, I'm as good a host as there is, and I did all of it in a 2-week span. Just perfection, man. Mm-hmm. And I truly marvel at it. And that's what I got.
Couple things. Watching you do what you do, and then being there with you for the moments. Tell me if I'm wrong, but there's only so many things you could write. Right?
Yeah.
You know, like, you have to put yourself in a situation before you get into it, say the night before or whatever, when you're doing your writing. It was like, all right, if so-and-so wins, it's going to be this. If so-and-so is going to win, it's going to be this. Like, there's different outcomes here. Mm-hmm. We got to be ready for both. That's part of the gig. You know, you're in the moment, but then you're in the moment.
That's the key.
And to his hope message that you explained, but to wrap everything up and not take 10 minutes.
It's the height of the art form. It's the personification of craft.
But I also go back. I'm going to guess it was his call, but to be in the arena.
I'll promise you it was.
To have Eruzione after the first period, to talk exactly what you wanted to talk about and get what the viewer needed from Edzo and Boucher in between periods. Spectacular. And then just him in that one shot with guys still skating in the background. You know you're in the arena. and to be in a different country in such a monumental moment for this country and those guys that did it, and knowing the history of what transpired in 1980 in Lake Placid. We've all seen that story, and Al Michaels capturing that moment.
An incredible call for all time, no doubt.
It's exactly what you wanted and needed. And he nailed, to your point, not being able to do it better. He nails every single thing.
Correct.
The best thing about him doing an NFL game, I know timeout situation, I know the referees, he knows reviews. Everything is so buttoned up, and he doesn't take time away from what needs to be said or shown, which I think is the most important. So incredible job.
The best athletes deliver the best when the best is required. And the best that cover athletes hopefully can be their best when the moment asks of it. The whole country is watching yesterday morning. Although I do wonder, and with that early start time, although by the time it's done, LA, Portland, Seattle, Vegas, Phoenix, everybody out west, you guys are all awake and probably set alarms to watch it, right? But the whole country's watching, and they win. And he hits you with the generational build. And he hits you with the idea of chase the dreams and go get them. And the notion, because it's true, that sports bring us together unlike anything else. To be able to tap into the emotion of the Gaudreau moment. Just, I marvel at my friend's ability. And I mean, I can joke all I want about, you're not going to win Emmys. You know why? Because that guy's in the category. Ernie Johnson's in the category. And I sit and I watch that and I smile and I just nod my head and I go, well, fuck, I'll never win one because that guy exists. And that's okay because you can smile at your friend and just be glad that I get to consume something that's that brilliant in a moment to so concisely, perfectly nail a moment. And I know Mike as well as I do, and he'll do that thing he does where he'll blow this off.
It was pretty cool.
And he won't, but I'm going to say it here, and I'll tell him when we connect. Just let people just accept this and acknowledge this, because what we do cannot, and to my way of seeing it, has not been done better.
Unprecedented.
Ever. So thanks for that. I'm just glad I know you.
Yeah.
And get to tell you that. I admire it.
No doubt.
And I hope me saying that, I really hope that I don't sound tacky in saying I think that I'm good at what I do.
Right.
But I'm all right. And now I'm doing the Tirico. I feel like I know what I know how to do.
Yeah.
But I marvel at an ability to nail that moment in a way that just couldn't be done better. Phew.
No.
Wow.
Spectacular.
Layers.
Oh.
The Hughes stuff. The McKinnon stuff. The Gaudreau stuff. The Tirico stuff. The broadcast stuff.
All of them.
What a treat to be able to consume it and watch it and now sit here and talk about it. I think we mostly touched on that topic. It was an hour and change.
Yeah, sorry.
Red's like, hey, what are we doing? We have more to do, Red. I'm sorry. Anything else you wanted to mention from that?
No, I'm still marvel at Larkin getting up from that hit.
Now, he didn't know it, but he had an important job to do late, and that was to take one of Johnny Hockey's kids on the ice for a gold medal picture.
But on the hockey aspect too, those guys explaining and then seeing everybody after, the gamble that Hughes takes to poke and go.
Oh, it was going to be a 2-0.
Nothing.
And now it's game over.
Forget it. That, the Werenski steal, the
and
pass.
Then McKinnon didn't play the puck. And this is me not knowing hockey, but I know enough to know that there was that moment of indecision.
Well, the Hughes to widen, obviously, and get the spacing is enormous.
With half a jib. if we pivot to the gigantic game of the weekend, Master Motivator, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Duke, Michigan, we're on our neighborhood. Huge game here in the DMV. It started off like every game from Michigan. It's like 24-20, like 8 minutes in. But then I didn't think this game would play at that pace. I felt like this is going to be a grinded out, like regional Final Four type game where defense and physicality will rule the day, not spacing and let's just get a run and a sweat in. I was not shocked, impressed by Duke's ability to make Michigan play that game and to get the victory in the way that they did. You were there with your girls all in their Duke gear, which is sickening, but that's neither here nor there. What'd you say?
Well, it started early in the morning. I took my oldest down to game day. I wanted to see the guys, knowing Pete and Reese and Jay, and knowing plenty of conversation yesterday in the Maryland area. Well, I went to the WCAC semis that we could get to later, but very close friends of yours about this aspect of, was it a kick in the face for Maryland and Georgetown people to have this game played? We could talk about that later. But I felt it. I thought it was big. I think people are just in their circles. But being a Duke fan, knowing this game was coming all year, watching Michigan do what they did, being the number one team in the country, I wanted to go experience as much of it as I could. So game day changed. They were going to do game day, and that's why they were coming to neutral site, 1-3 in the country, and the teams were going to do shoot-arounds during the show. And so the window that I had, I could get there for the first hour, and that was Michigan. I'm like, my oldest that plays the game. I'm like, we are going down to watch. You have to see this team. And sure enough, they come out 10:05 or 10:15, whatever it was. And it's Yaxel and it's Mara and the size of these guys.
It's a large team.
And you're like, all right, I get it. This team's
Morez
number
Johnson.
one. But there's a different aspect of these guys. You're watching on TV and they're the best of the best. But to see them in that practice atmosphere where it's way more free-willing, right? They come out and they do a drill where it's like triple threat position. We're not going to shoot. Let's make a tough pass. There's a defender and it's like a square drill. And my daughter's just like, what is this? And how do they do it? And then you just see Mara like basically on his tippy toes, like dunk a basketball. Then they do a dunk line where it's just got every guy, go ahead, do what you want to do. Then there's shooting drills and the ball is just going in the hoop, in the hoop, in the hoop, and everything's fast. The head coach goes over and does an interview on the desk with the guys, and these guys are just going, at a pace, and you see these staffs, and it was packed. Like people came, like it was an awesome atmosphere, and the Michigan fans are all riled up, and you see this. And then we had to leave to go to a swim meet and didn't get to see the Duke aspect, but supposedly it filled in even more for what they have in this area and being closer in proximity. And then we do the swim meet. We got another basketball game. We drive right back down the arena. I'm trying to text Parker and Henny and the guys that are our people behind the scenes. It's like they're not opening the doors till 5:30. We're there at like 4. I wasn't going back home. You know what it is right here. Yeah. Traffic, Maryland, D.C.
All due respect.
Got it. So I'm like, it's like 4:45. I don't want to go out to Clyde's or any of the places with the kids. We know what kind of atmosphere this is going to be. So we get to go in early and before the doors open and the teams are starting to warm up, and we're watching again. And now I got the whole family there. And Reese came over to say hello, and it was great for guys that you travel with so much to finally meet your family and to see the madness that I go home to, and everybody has their own madness. But it was just great. Like you're taking it in, it's building. And it was a, Big East, grew up going to the Big East tournament, and whether you want St. John's, UConn, which is the big one now, but UConn, Syracuse, whatever. It was that feel. It was 50-50, to the most part. And they knew what these teams were. And it was funny. A couple of guys in the Duke band, as we're walking up to our seats to get off of the court, as it starts to build and the doors open, are like, we're the underdog. Let's enjoy this moment. And I'm like, you're damn right you are. And let's see how we respond. So the atmosphere was next level. I do believe there was more Michigan, but Duke had the lead the majority of the game. So the angst and the ability to believe, like, hey, we could pull this off, I thought made it for just a great atmosphere. But I had questions about Duke because I hadn't seen him do it with this group. It starts with Boozer. I thought he was intimidated by the bigs that he's played and struggled against in that Carolina game, not being able to get his shot off and getting his shot blocked and playing not timid, but just second-guessing himself almost. I'm like, man, you got ability, and he steps out. He makes the big three. Caleb Foster, who was a guy that was he going to leave? Was he going to go? Or were we bringing in another point guard? What are we going to do with this situation? They come out and they put Yaxel on him. And I'm like, he's got a decision to make. Like, he's got to go. They're going to try and guard you with your 4 guy, knowing that, the ability, and they want to use the guards on Evans and that. So there was a lot of intricacies into the game, and as the ball is going in the hoop, to your point early on, you start to see some changes, and then Shire puts Dame on Gaudreau in the second half, and that really slows things down. It helped that Gaudreau didn't make a shot. Boozer getting his 4th and trying to stay in the game, and Shire's like, no, sit your ass down. We're in a dogfight here. We got guys.
It took guts to do that. You had to sit him, and the fact that Michigan wasn't able to eat into the lead while Boozer sat on the bench that wouldn't have been a gamble. You'd have had to play him.
Yep.
If that went the wrong way for Duke, but it didn't.
No, because their defense buckled down. Gongbo was great on the boards. They struggled with defensive rebounding a couple times, and that started to tilt. But their defensive ability was great. Shire out of the timeout when they absolutely needed it. I think it's 3:25 left, and he draws. There's great video now of him in the huddle. It's like, hey, they're not switching anymore. We're going to run this. It's not going to be a fade screen. You're going to go to the hoop. Gong was a good passer and throws the alley-oop for Evans, and that really, I think, stabilized Duke and gave us sense.
They had 2 great out-of-timeout scenarios. One,
Michigan had a couple early, too.
Yeah, but one, like Foster finds Boozer for the 3 was monstrous. I mean, it wasn't – it was high-level hoops. It's just we've seen those teams where it's free and easy and they're coasting to high numbers. That was a grinded-out game. I think it benefits Michigan. I'm not trying to sell them that losing is somehow positive. It's not. But being in one and just seeing, okay, all right, they're out there. That's what they are. All right. Moore I didn't think his second foul was a good call. His third he earned, but he played in foul trouble. So did Johnson. And so that height advantage, it's a bad matchup for Duke. They didn't have to deal with that.
Yep.
But that's part of basketball, man.
Correct.
Like that, that's part of it. You get to some regional final or a Final Four type game, which is what it would be because those are both ones at this point. Figure it out, man. You're gonna have to navigate that if that's the reality of your situation. So good to be in a game where you have to figure some stuff out because mostly they've played from 20 ahead of anyone, including last week at Mackey in the middle of the week where they just jumped them and they were up 18 at the half at Mackey. It doesn't happen, man.
No.
So I thought it was a net benefit for Michigan to have a close game, but ultimately Duke earns monster kudos from me for how physical and tough they were in a game that was going to require that to get the win.
It also made me start thinking, tell me if I'm wrong, when we're watching these top teams and that Houston-Arizona game buckled down too, I thought. But we've seen these games.
Maybe bear down. Let's say
bear down.
Maybe they bared down. Shout out Tucson.
It feels like the scoring ability has been higher this year in college basketball, and that's what's made it an awesome year. The ball's gone in the hoops.
I agree.
And now to see those 2 games Saturday, have to bend your knees and get some stops.
It's like the NFL. Like, what do you always say? People like points, but then when we get to the playoffs, mostly the Seattle-LA game was a little different because the offenses both clicked in that one. But defense is going to show itself eventually.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see 82-80, regional final type scores.
No, and that's like I started to think that, though, before Saturday because we've seen these teams that could put it in, do it, and on the road, at home, neutral site, whatever. So it was how officiating is going to factor in NCAA tournament, all that stuff. That atmosphere gave me a different sense of what I perceived going into it, for sure.
I have a buddy locally that was just offended that the game was played here at all.
Yeah, I was with him yesterday.
I would have a much harder time with it. I mean, it would never happen. The idea Maryland would allow Duke to play in its home court in a game against someone else, that would never happen. I felt like it would be way worse as a Georgetown fan. It's a down year, obviously, for Maryland. I mean, I guess Thamel was saying, well, there's no college teams around here. That's bullshit. I mean, like a year ago,
I think
Maryland's a 4 seed, and when Maryland basketball is good, it's a big deal around here. It's just this year has been a transition year, a new coach, and it's been a struggle. So, yeah, it's fair to say that was the biggest college game in our area this year. No argument.
I think he was speaking more on the relevance factor.
And that's fair,
like
too.
They're just, I mean, both teams were playing that day. Georgetown played an away game. It wasn't even mentioned.
Understood.
You know, in their arena.
Understood.
So
right. That's as I say, the idea that your home court was used to host that would be a problem for me. I didn't have an issue with it. Look, Maryland's in the bottom 4 of the Big Ten. Got a big dub Saturday. What's up? Hopefully it'll be better next year. But yeah, it's been a while since something has felt like that. Like Maryland, when Maryland played Michigan State last year in that game, I had to come into work after Holloman hit the 3/4 court shot to beat them. Like, that's as good an environment as I've seen in quite some time around here. That was high level, top of the Big Ten type stuff. But look, if you're going to bring Duke and Michigan and bring them into any city, Chicago, New York, Washington, wherever, it's going to be a big deal. But it's going to be a bigger deal here because you have so many alum from both alumni. You have alums. That's just the default to use when you're too stupid to know the proper term. But there are a lot of folks there in our area from both sides.
Yeah, I think at the height of Maryland and Georgetown, if you were going to say, shit, they're going to play there next year, you know,
Correct.
in that arena.
Correct.
But like in the years past, Gary's years, like they've had neutral site games. What they play? They played Kansas there with Paul Pierce, like way back when the arena
They played
first
Stanford
opened.
there back in the day.
Yeah.
That was 25.
That was a tournament, you know.
It was a round robin type of thing. It was like you played 2 games and Stanford came to town. I think it was like Casey Jacobson years. I'm pretty sure it was.
Probably, yeah. I think he was a freshman.
I believe
franchise. I know that
because they were highly ranked at the time. But look, it's there. I'm not trying to tell you that like the local college DMV hoops are thriving this year. They're not. They're not.
No.
But I get it. If I'm Leonsis and that's my building, bring it on.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Wonder what that number was. But also, is Dusty May called Underwood? Because Underwood did the same thing against Duke last year in Madison Square Garden, and they got run out of the gym.
Yeah, they did.
And May called him. He's like, would you do it again? He said, in a heartbeat. He's like, you need that kind of atmosphere. Neutral site, most important for your team. Shooting back round, 50-50 crowd, the whole whatever you want to say. He's like, I wish I could do that again. So now I'm interested if that's going to happen more. But to your point, the relevance thing has to factor. Maryland can't have this game scheduled and have a year like they had and expect a team to come in and you're going to have the arena. You know, that's fan bases are really spoiled nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
So to be a local thing. Now, Duke sought this out. They wanted to go. DC is going to be a home venue for Elite 8 Sweet 16. Hopefully they're fortunate to be a 1 and be there and it works out. But that was the whole point. They, you know, people read into it, whatever. Both teams agreed. They're both Nike schools. They didn't want to use a Nike ball. Let's use the NCAA tournament ball. Fine. You know, just to get yourself in that mindset, I just thought was really forward thinking and smart. And it was an absolute home run.
1,000%. I mean, you can leave your conference, and the ACC's better this year, but you can step out of conference so you don't see a team that's familiar with you, and especially in the Big Ten. That's the thing that's really, really, really impressed me in being in that league for now more than a decade. The scouts and the coaching, Big Ten top to bottom, is exceptional. And there's no secrets. And so you hold up fist or thumb up or whatever it is.
They know it.
But they're running your stuff before you do. And sure, Duke's going to scout Michigan and vice versa. So we got an idea of it. But just there's a lack of familiarity. And playing in a professional venue in a city that isn't yours, high level atmosphere in February, before it really matters for everything in March, it's clearly win-win for both Dusty and for John. Of course you'd do it. There's no downside. Michigan's still on the 1 line. You know, you lose the game, you're still on the 1 line.
Yeah.
So, win-win.
Are you surprised at Houston?
No, hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. All anyone listening wants to know and needs to hear, Steve, your list is fluid. It's a new week.
Yeah.
Are they on?
Feels like too soon. We'll probably update it March 1st. I'm not going to react. You know, everybody's making fun of me 2 nights ago, and then Wisconsin comes out and beats Iowa. Like, what do you do with them? Can we let them marinate and breathe a little bit? I'm sure they're going to be on the list.
There.
All right.
He finally said it. And he admitted on SportsCenter maybe he's just trying to turn the screw a little bit.
What was left out of the clip is that I'm a Duke fan.
Let the folks down there in Durham know.
Got a couple texts after that segment.
I bet you
from
did.
Durham.
I bet you did.
Saying thank you.
I bet you did. Because hey Red, you've reached that point, huh? It's about that time. Hey, you want a bottle? Yeah, go get it. Yeah.
Go fetch.
Go, just chuck a bottle. He's gonna be back there smashing plastic. Probably not the best chew toy, but he's been at it for a minute. All right, so maybe they'll be on it. What I think of Houston, I was surprised.
Yeah, me too.
I was surprised two ways. I was surprised positively from Arizona to go in there without Koa Pete and play from ahead almost exclusively. There was a very small gap where Houston took the lead. I expected after Houston lost at home, on the road to Iowa State a week ago Monday, where they had the 10-point second half lead, and then Hilton Magic, whatever you want to call it, Iowa State comes roaring back. I expected at home against Arizona, not with everybody able to play. I expected just toughness win, program win, building won't let you lose win. That's not what happened.
No.
Tommy Lloyd's boys are real, and they're connected. They did an interview, Coach Lloyd did with his team, and they stand together as they did when we talked to them after they beat BYU on the road. Delorso was big, 20-something plus. That's huge. I think he's one of those wild card guys.
No doubt.
That if he's going to do that, then they 100% can win a title. They probably need some of that along the way to get 6 wins in a row. But the one concern I always have about Houston is their ability to win a tough battle. I get it's like, can you make enough buckets if we're going to play in the 70s to keep up with someone like that?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not doubting Houston. I just was surprised that happened. I expected the home team to win that game, and they didn't. And Houston still, I assume, I don't have a list, but if I did, they'd be on it. They can certainly win a title. But Arizona was impressive. Very, very impressive. So I took a big, giant plus for Arizona and a surprising question mark for me on Houston.
Iowa State.
What are you asking me?
Do you feel any differently?
I feel like there's a ceiling for them that's short of 6 games.
Okay.
And you don't get to play in in Hilton.
Correct.
In the tournament. And I worry about their ability to make shots, because the tournament, you're in these weird venues, the timeouts are forever. I feel like every team's going to endure some poor shooting game or half or segments. I certainly think they're one of the 10 best teams in the country. But there's a difference between being a top 10 team and being a Final Four / national championship team.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, look, they won the game head-to-head with Houston at home. But, all right, Lipsy made game-winning plays. That's what he does late. But their guards relative to maybe some other title team winning guards. But then again, I like Fleming's more from Houston, and Iowa State won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Otzelberger's team's really tough, and they've identified some guys that outside of just like Jefferson and like Heisey had the big shot.
Mm-hmm.
They're on your list.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just looked at that situation like that was a BYU must-have.
Well, right. They lose Saunders, and their resume's not in trouble by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But you got to win that game at home, and you got to show the committee who you are without him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, we have DiBanza.
He played 40 minutes.
That was a stat that was pointed out on the broadcast.
Mm.
I just want to find. I want to look at what Bateman's numbers are at Iowa State. A freshman shooter. He's been big for them lately. That I feel like I was saying with Delorso, I feel like the Jamarian Bateman, the who made a couple of big threes against Houston. I feel like he's a guy that you need some other guy, someone outside of your top 3 in your scoring list to be a guy. But in the break, Fleming and Farnham had that call of BYU-Iowa State Saturday night, and I said, who you taking number 1? And Farnham didn't hesitate. He said, DeBonta all day. I mean, look, the Peterson conversation only gets louder, and you're starting to hear more people pick up on, does this guy love to play? Are we load managing in college? Like, that's going to be a question. Like, that's going to come up. And here's a guy that plays 40 minutes, and he's so gifted.
Yeah.
He's so gifted.
Yeah, he can make a shot from anywhere on the floor.
I mean, it's a combination of the handle and the length. I mean, very, 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 very cautious to ever say you see some Durant in anyone, because Durant's rare.
Mm-hmm.
But big, tall, skinny guy with handles, and he'll take it to the rim and pull from anywhere. I mean, he's got that.
Yeah, he's got more of that.
Than pretty much anyone I've seen in a long time.
I still don't think Kevin gets enough credit for being as good of a shooter as he was and is.
I was going to say was. There's no past tense with that.
Exactly. So AJ's giving you that athleticism that he has in his own tier, in my opinion. So both those teams, Iowa State and BYU, I can't wait to see what the matchups look like in the bracket.
That's the biggest thing for me, especially in that league. Is at the top of that league, whether you want to include Kansas or Texas Tech or, all the way up and down the top of it. Look, let's put them, take card out of the deck and say Kansas plays, I don't know, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or they play Louisville. Just see somebody that, little cross-pollination.
Yeah. And then to their point about this out-of-conference February game, like, all right, you're going to get rid of one in my league? That could go play it? Like, they don't need an out-of-conference game to get tested. And, they could take the neutral site out of it. They'd rather play in these venues on the road to learn about what they got. So,
I mean, look at you.
That's your dog.
Hold on. With the bottle secured, Red's now livid, but we can at least carry on in peace. Any other college hoops that you wanted to mention or get to?
No, ever changing.
Understood. So just the net of this, Duke, not on the list yet. Little winky. But
Thank you.
But will be March 1st. Just everybody relax.
We'll get there.
Okay. You got anything else on the list you wanted to get to?
Yeah. Jacob Bridgeman.
Dub.
Did you see the interview?
I didn't.
So
this is the first time winner on the PGA Tour. Doesn't just win, wins at the Riv, hangs on for dear life.
Been in the mix.
Yeah, he ended up on the rocks at Pebble.
Yeah.
It took forever. Something you alluded to last week. He was right there with a chance to break through, but got the win.
Yeah, and Golf Channel had their breakdown, so I caught that. I watched the end of it because I missed it live. And after he does the trophy and shakes Tiger's hand and hugs his wife, he said he's been married 65 days. Todd Lewis grabs him for his post-game interview. And they show the video of him walking off, and Tiger always does it, where he greets you at the top of the green. And I'm watching him do this, and he sort of like blows by Tiger. Like, not blow by, but like ends it quicker than Tiger was there. Like, he could have questioned whatever, and like he's grabbing his hat and he shakes Tiger's hand like he's going off, where I thought Tiger was like in for more. And so he goes, signs his card, press conference, the whole thing. And then Todd, they have this back area at the Riv where he does the interview. And Todd asks him, first time winner, it's been a grind. You've been in the mix and playing with a monster lead. What'd you learn about yourself? What's the first inkling in a first time win? And he's answering the questions. And by the third question and answer, he loses it. And you say it all the time. And you go back to that first time Dabo won a national championship where you're talking to him and he grabs his hat, as Dabo does, with two hands, and it's sunk in. You know, he's a national champion. But this kid, it sunk in while he was talking. And Todd re-up asked, like, is there anything you're thinking about or people, you know? He's like, and he trying to get it. And he talks about the people and family and all this. But, like, you know, I think it happened so fast where he's trying to hold on and it gets dicey late, you know, and it was that moment, minutes, maybe tens of minutes after the win where he just like it, boom, hit a bricks. Holy shit, I won, you know, and it was just one of those moments where I was like, wow, I don't know anything really about him. I know he went to Clemson. He's been in the mix a couple weeks, you know, young guy. And then I go back to listening to Tiger talk when he was on the broadcast Saturday. And he talked about, I think Immelman asked him, like, you've played with these monster leads. Like, what's the goal? And he's like, par golf. Make them come catch. You're up 6-7 strokes,
right,
you know?
Right.
Don't make the big mistake. And you see this kid trying to do that. And then Brandel did a breakdown last night of how he did it, and I thought it was great. I mean, that's a tough place to hit fairways, and you're playing with a lead. You're a first-timer trying to win a tournament. I mean, it's 7, 8, 9, 11. Like, you make a mistake on those fairways, you're in trouble. Boom, right down the middle. And then his approach shots, just not trying to, you know, if a birdie's there, go ahead and take it. But all his approach shots right in the middle of the green, I'll make it work from there. You know?
Yeah, but it's tricky. I mean, you've heard me reference this often in many different sports. Gary Williams, Hall of Fame coach at Maryland, said the hardest thing to do is to play with a lead because you played one way to build that lead, and then you play an entirely different way to try to protect the lead. Tiger mastered it.
Yeah.
Because Tiger just playing par golf, bogey wasn't even part of the equation because his par was closer to birdie than it was to ever bringing bogey in. Right? You win 80 some odd times that you've done it so much, you know the recipe. Whereas when you haven't done it and you're playing at a course like Riviera that is penalizing.
Yeah. And
the rear view's got Rory in it. Although you're with him. So like it's not the rear view. Like you got to deal with that. That's a lot, man. I've been lucky enough to cover that for years and see guys break through and it hits everybody at different times, but it hits them because it's a singular sport, but nobody gets there on their own. No, not
there's
at
an
all.
army.
There's an army behind you.
And that's where I think he was like, it was so good. But to going back, he had that plan.
Sure.
And for the most part, his lead was what, 7?
At one point.
Going in, and he wins by 1 or 2, you know? One. So to see him execute what he wanted to do, I think was also this deal, like, hey, you know, are you going to be able to hold on to the lead? Are you going to be able to hold on to a lead?
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. So if you get a chance, go back and watch it. It's really cool and an awesome story.
Todd Lewis does a great job with those. He's been out there for many, many years with Golf Channel, so you know has the relationships and trust with guys that you're gonna get the best, and he always does get the best from those guys. The point you're making is something that I've always loved is seeing that the guy that's been close breakthrough because it's a life changer.
He said it.
It changes your life.
He said it, and I was really happy he did
because you get the one, and then it means job security. It means you're going to get in events for at least a window of time that are the higher level, elevated ones, and you're giving yourself a chance if you play well. Say you give yourself a 5-year window where you play at a really high level, you're going to create some generational wealth there.
Yeah.
So not chasing, not having to wonder where am I playing moving forward, monstrous.
It was,
and by the way, winning anywhere is a big deal.
That place, man.
The Riv, it's your favorite player's favorite course. I've said that a million times.
Pretty good purse, too.
Well, elevated event.
You know?
I mean, it was like Saturday and Sunday, it was Chamber of Commerce days. I mean, that part of LA when it's good, buddy, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I've been there when it's not. But when it's good.
It's not a lot. It's more like it is Saturday and Sunday, which makes it what it is.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, without question.
Did not have those weather circumstances around here.
No.
Spent some hours in the pool.
Okay.
Watching.
Okay.
Daughter swam 500 Friday night. Buddy, let me tell you. You want to talk about that hot pocket in the microwave? 20 laps in a 25-meter pool.
All right.
Goal time was 7 minutes.
Okay.
So she had gone early with the wife, and I'm driving the other two, and we're trying to time it up so we don't have the other two in a pool that's 900 degrees for excess amount of time.
Sure.
So the whole drive, I'm driving there, and I'm like, man, this is 7 minutes straight. I don't know if I do anything 7 minutes straight.
Discipline.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going. And I'm like, all right, a little more. We're picking up the splits. And so she breaks 7 minutes, and then she comes up and says again, good enough for JOs. I'm like, wow, that's a real event. I'm just thinking of my, 7 minutes in a pool nonstop.
How old is she?
She's 9.
I just admire the ability at that age to have the focus and the discipline to do it, because, I mean, it's just that black line at the bottom of the pool, and it's you against the clock. And all right, flip, count. You're counting them in your head. I guess maybe there's somebody holding up.
We got them on. Yep.
Right. You got
dunking the numbers down.
Okay. That's awesome.
It was.
So she qualified for
that, and in
JO's is Junior Olympics, by the way. We just talking Olympics, like Junior Olympics.
Qualified.
Hey, let's not minimize.
But also did in the 200 also. So we got 3. I think we're going back to your stomping grounds for those.
When?
End of March.
Okay.
Middle of March, right around there. So
would she be embarrassed if I came and cheered as loud as I could?
Well, here's the funny thing is we go upstairs. We come after the Duke game. We got them to work, and they had to use the restroom because we were stuck in traffic and getting over there. And then they were going home. And Olivia was like, I want to go give Scott a hug. And I'm like,
not in that sweatshirt.
Not in those clollers. Not in that Duke shirt. You're not getting a hug. And she's like, really? I'm like, oh, yeah. There is some feelings in there. And so she's sitting there. I was like, well, if he gets up, I'll give him a hug. I'm like, he's not going to get up.
No, and they walked in, and they need to know. I'm just being silly.
I know.
Because they come in, and they're in their blue, and I'm like, you got it? That's the color we're going to show up in? So already, Dad's planted the seed that maybe Uncle Scott's not going to be super psyched. That's terrible.
I tried helping the situation.
Well, I appreciate that, but please tell her that I'm just being performative and silly. I'm happy to hug her in anything, especially the Junior Olympic qualifier. That's fantastic.
Well, those two combined, like the giant tubs you get of popcorn now at events, I mean, they're giant. They're bigger than movie popcorn.
Sure.
Those two, I think, ate 3 of them over the course of it.
Wow. Well, you need energy. You swim 5. How many laps? 20?
Yeah, then she swam the 50 and 200 Saturday and then the 100 Sunday.
Right.
So it was action-packed.
Well, we're proud.
And now he's gnawing. All right.
All right, now you're going to chew on me. Okay.
Oldest got contacts now for wearing hoops, and she went 3 or 4 from the foul line.
Bang. That's
no more Rambus goggles. Did you ever wear
No, I wore glasses once. I pitched one game. I wore glasses, and everything was so clear. I freaked out. I think I gave up like 2 in the first inning. Took the glasses off. I'm like, can't mess with this, man. I don't know why. It was really weird seeing that clearly. And I also think when you are adjusting to glasses, there's like a depth perception thing that's hard. So,
baseball's the one I thought you might be able to, but
but I was pitching. I don't know, something about it. It was just like the way. But it was a road game. It was a summer league game, and it was like the depth. Like how some
Twilight
places,
too.
A little bit of that, but more. It was like how some places you'll play. There's like more. There's not a lot of depth behind the plate and the backstop.
Perception.
It was one of those ones where there was a lot more. I don't know, or maybe I just was a shitty pitcher. I mean, could have been that.
But never in basketball.
No, I just squinted a lot and let it rip. I knew where the bucket was.
It wasn't moving.
Nope. Speaking of buckets, my man Chucky Buckets, the youngster, I think he was 0 for 15 before he made his first at the end of a game. They took it on the chin. I believe they lost 18-12, and he told me afterwards, he's like, we almost won. I was like, no, you didn't almost win. He goes, now, on his team, like I'm not trying to be the dad that's to just shoot, but if you're one of the guys on the team that can actually dribble to a space where you can get a clean look, go ahead and let it rip.
Yeah.
Because there's times that you're going to pass it to someone that's just going to throw it away. So let's just get shots up. And the truth of the matter is he had about 4 or 5 that were looks that I was sure were going to, they just rolled off. But he made the last one. We left the gym on a make.
That's the goal.
That's exactly right. We never leave a gym without seeing the ball go in the bucket. So
do you have officials?
In that league, the dads are just kind of trying to, and we brought his brother with him, and he was just calling out the walks and the double dribbles. And I'm like, let's a little more
cool guy talking down.
I said to him, I said, son, there'll be none of that. We'd kill this team. I'm like, well, yeah, you're 3 grades older. What do you want? A ribbon? Be a little bit more, But we couple of L's this weekend. Older brother took the L.
Oh, after the fact?
Yeah, next day.
Oh,
next day. See, that's what I'm saying. You'd be a little more supportive. But anyway,
do you shoot free throws?
Yeah, Sam went to the line yesterday twice. Swished his first one, and I was like, good, we've got our routine. Then he missed a second. Then the next time at the line, didn't do his routine. Barely grazed the bottom of the rim and was so mortified that he nearly airballed that he banked the second one, and he was more upset about that. When he came out, he's like, Dad, I almost airballed and then I banked it. I'm like, buddy, 2 for 4.
Do they call lane violations on the shooter after the second free throw?
We're just trying to keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise.
Okay.
So we're going to let foot fouls. We're not
Understood.
We're not adjudicating that.
Okay.
Very
all right.
Strictly.
Well, I will just say when they start doing it.
Oh,
get ready.
Here we go.
We had 5 girls shoot free throws, every single one of them after the second. I'm like, do you think they're just trained from it not going in that they want to go get the rebound?
Maybe, but I think the officials could give them a little warning, like keep.
No, they go right away.
Let them know. That's on the officials. Let's let the gals and the guys know how we're going to be calling it.
It's really annoying.
Okay. I have one serious piece that I want to close with. If you've got anything else,
I got a second nose waxing.
And
fantastic.
I feel like I'm going to need to do that.
I'm telling you, it's great.
So
I'll get you an appointment.
Okay. All right. Locals, obviously, it's like
5 minutes.
Because I get up there near where I get out there.
God. You think it's West Virginia?
Yeah, I get up there and I might as well be in Cumberland. I can't get out too far in Cumberland. You just let me know where to go.
It might be 3.5, 4 miles.
I'll be fine. Do the ladies eyeball you walking in? Like, who's this behemoth? What is he coming in for?
Yeah. There was some definite eyeballs. Like,
that's
what's
fine.
going here?
Hey, I'm here for the nose wax. What of it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in. I'm in. I like the sounds of that.
Okay.
What are we? We'll be back at it next Monday, right?
Sounds right. Are we in March next Monday? Yeah,
I think we are. March Madness around the corner.
I
want to close with this, and it's a serious thing, but I want to speak to it because I'd rather say it here than social media. It's impossible to talk through it. Saturday night, we did on our show a segment on the passing of Rondale Moore. And it's a tragic story, obviously. And there's the layer of the suspected self-inflicted gunshot wound, which magnifies even further the need to check on your people and all of that. And you see the folks that knew him best that are just so shaken by this, and you understand that. And it's a heartbreaking situation. In covering that story, we did an on-camera, which featured the first time through an image that was not Rondale Moore. It was Miles Price. And we fixed it for the subsequent shows that re-air, because when you do the late show, it's the one that used to run all day long, and now it runs a few times, but it's neither here nor there. we fixed that error. But the fact that it aired at all incorrectly cannot happen. And it did. And I've always said about the show that I do, it's not my show, it's our show, because it's our show. And it's a group of people. And it's a group of people that work their butts off and do an awesome job and put me and Steve, put us in a great position to try to do the show we do. And I appreciate them. But we all of us make errors. It happens. And so it's our show. But in this case, I don't do the graphics, all right? But I'll say in this case, that's my show, and I'm the one sitting out there. So I'll put my hand up and say, look, I'm the one that wants to say about that mistake that it can't happen. And it's hard for me to articulate how much it bothers me and how upsetting it is for that to happen, because it can't. And it did. And so I see that apparently, as best as I can connect the dots, there was some image that many outlets used incorrectly, whether it was magazines or newspapers or other media outlets. But with respect to them, I don't care about the mistakes they made. All I care about is us and me and the fact that our show made that error. And so I just wanted to say that how it happened is not as important as just owning the fact that it did, and just to let everyone know, especially like Miles Price, like this guy's very much here, and the Moore family that are going through this unimaginable time, that's an error that was made that truly, truly bothered me. And so all we can do is our best moving forward. We corrected it that night, and I'm not making excuses, because there's no excuse to be made. But it's just important that I explain as best I can, as best as my limited understanding of how the error could be made, that it was, and that it's not something, you know me well. That's a quiet drive home Saturday night. And it's the kind of drive home where I get home and it's very late and I'm just sitting there, and even sitting here right now, it just troubles me that, yeah, we fixed it, but it doesn't matter. That one can't happen. And so all I can say is, again, make no excuse, but own it, do our best moving forward on it, and to not have it ever be repeated again. So it's a heck of a downer to end it on, but I felt like it was an important thing just to say on the record. But that one was tough. And I apologize for it. So we're back at it tonight. What do we follow? Kansas and Houston. Another fantastic Big 12 game. It seems like that's all we get. I imagine maybe we'll talk to Bill or Kelvin, one of the players on the winning side. I mean, that's typically how we do it. But we'll be back at that tonight. Busy couple of nights here. Busy couple of nights at TGL. But we're back at it tonight. So appreciate you being out there. And we'll see you back here next week on SVPod.